Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo! Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where today we're doing another dev Q&A video, which if you're familiar with the channel, something we do once a month. Now, we do talk to the dev team for y'all when y'all have issues like bug issues with customer support sometimes, there's things happening in the game, and we definitely give that feedback on a daily basis. But what I try to do is take Discord, Facebook, other mediums, of course YouTube comments, and look over the past month, what are some of the biggest pressing issues for you, and see if I can get the dev team to sit down and actually answer some of those questions. And that's exactly what we're doing today. If you are here for the first time, welcome. If you're not here for the first time, well, welcome back. And we're going to start with the simplest of answers, possibly. I don't know. I will say that this one, just to kind of build it up a little bit, I feel like this one has some better answers than previous editions in terms of more direct, this is what's happening. And then there's a couple that are just kind of like, oh, but okay. So you can hear that as we start with number one. When will we get a sort by traits feature? Also, when an officer is on an away mission, their traits no longer display in the scroll menu. So like if you've got a officer out on an away team, well, you can't actually see their abilities for a new away mission. That's a problem. Now, this is not kind of one of those answers I was promising you, but here you go. We are working on those two improvements, but don't have a timeline to share. Oh, don't worry. I promise they're not all like this. We know that you know when's it getting done. Sorry to raise my voice at you. I'm just... At least they know. The more you know. Anyway. Number two. Why did you remove the ability to cloak while warping? This took away one of the PvE bonuses of cloak, using it to prevent bounty hunters and police ships from targeting you when entering a system, whether that's augment space, whether that's faction space. Especially for lower level players, that gave some value to cloaking. Now their response was actually better than I expected because, I just think most of us assumed that cloaking while warping was removed intentionally for whatever reason. Here was the response. It was not intended to work and caused some issues when it was being used in that manner, so it was fixed. That being said, we are considering adding it later in a correct way since we agree with the reasoning that you have provided. So because they don't want to be just a PvP element, they want to have PvE elements as well, they are going to look at ways to find this as a working mechanic that doesn't cause bugs on their issues or on their side. Now, what those bugs exactly were, I can't speak to, only that they said that they're going to work on fixing it and making it to where we actually use it like that. Because it makes sense, and it lines up with Star Trek because we do really push for lore-based Star Trek. At least I do. I mean, I hope many of you do, because if you're here, you're likely some form of Star Trek nerd. I mean, you can see in the background how much of a nerd I am. I've got my damaged Enterprise D, I've got my USS Constellation, and I've got my USS Enterprise TOS skin. I mean, I love collecting this stuff because it's my lore. So, yeah, I guess it all adds up. Number three, though. A lot of great updates have come to the game, like updates to the loyalty chest, but when will the 10-minute chest, 4-hour, and 24-hour chest get a much-needed boost? Now, apparently this was me pressing too deep because they were just like, are you serious right now? But here's their response. We don't even get 2 weeks to enjoy the loyalty chest update? No, you don't. Quality of life updates, please, thank you, forever ago needed. Sorry, no slack here. None whatsoever. But they said that it's on their list to update. Once again, a semi-non-answer. It is nice to know that they do have it on the list because I honestly felt like, and I've put this out in videos, that I feel like they forget completely. Now, maybe they lied and it's not actually on their list, but they're saying it is so that I feel better. Who knows? But it is nice to at least get acknowledgement. Number 4. The new SMS structure to procure new officers has been well received by most players. But is there a possibility that some of the rewards could include raw materials to help cover the cost of winning the SMS? Steel, titanium, dilithium, speed-ups. Here is their response. The new SMS structure is definitely a work in progress and is mostly as a result of everyone's feedback from the last several arcs. We appreciate all this feedback and are going to make some adjustments in the future. That being said, we will most likely still have some leaderboards for epic officers, so keep that in mind. Lastly, as for extra material rewards, it is something we will consider adding. Now, I know some people are going to be like, that's a non-answer. It actually is a really good answer, and we can assure you that they are going to consider and potentially add, and we know that for a fact because Remember, they just made changes based on feedback a couple weeks ago. So that does give me a very positive feeling. I don't know how positive, but positive. You know, we need resources. I'm dead. Look at my dilithium. I broke. Help me out. Number 5. Will we ever see another double leaderboard or a double SMS like when 3 of 10 had 10 of 10 shards included in the event as well? Short answer was yes. That's all they gave us. Just the word yes.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog.
No
come
timetable,
on,
not
man.
even maybe so. Yes. Yes. Okay. So number 6, TNG has wrapped up. The first arc has, but we still don't have proper sourcing for like the original series officers. When is this coming? Soon. Trademark. Oof. I mean, if this comes like next month, then me going oof is stupid. If it comes 6 months from now, oof. But they said soon. Trademark, and we all know the whole trademark thing. If you're not familiar with this whole meme that it's become at this point, it's essentially saying very soon. Now, we'll see if that actually happens. Oof. Number 7. When will there be a level 33 or higher Borg system that is actually on their roadmap, but they don't have a date yet? So here's why that's important. We know the roadmap that we have currently lasts about 6 months. And we can kind of base where things are going to be, whether it's on their roadmap versus on the roadmap they show us. So I would assume that this means within the next year, we're getting a Borg update. Now that's a long time, but also keep in mind what's coming that we know is here. We've got Duality that's going to finish out the year. We've got coming next year. We've already had some pretty obvious hints, Deep Space Nine. So even if you take those two things into consideration, we're already now looking at like April, May, June, July of next year before we likely see a new arc that could probably explore the systems of Borg. Now, I would love for a Borg 33 system to be here now, and I'm sure everybody else would. It is nice to know that it's on their roadmap, though, because that's a more specific answer than just saying, yeah, it's on our list. That's that it's getting worked on, but it's not necessarily coming anytime soon. So with them, it's a lot of read between the lines, try to get an idea of what they're saying. Now, if you remember, the Borg first came into the game at the very beginning of 2020. Now, fast forward, we had a mini Borg arc about, 4 months ago? How long has it been? We had a mini arc this year. Maybe we see that return next year, and hopefully some updates can come with it. We'll just have to wait and see. Number 8, transporter pattern update. I know this was discussed a couple of quarters ago, but is there any update? A lot of officers that were asked for a year ago that we wanted to be added to TP still aren't there. Transporter pattern officers are slowly rolled out over time. We released additional officers a couple months ago. It's been a lot more than a couple months ago, ladies and gentlemen, a lot more. And we will release more in the coming months. The only reason I'm happy with this answer, because they said that we're releasing more in the coming months. They said, here's you a brief timetable. Coming up, you will be getting more. So, yay. Number 9. When they first came out, away mission refresh tokens were an annoyance. But it would be nice to source them through, say, the dailies. Will sourcing for these return? Away Teams 2.0 have made them much needed. Now, their response is kind of curious for me, and I guess this just depends on individual players because I've heard a lot of people asking for these. But they said that in the last part of the next generation, we actually made a change that makes refresh tokens less annoying and potentially not even required, and that is that away teams will automatically refresh as soon as they complete and give you a new one. Over time, we believe this will make refresh tokens obsolete. Personally, I still like the ability to manually manipulate that refresh if the RNG is not playing to my favor. Part of me actually likes that they're taking away a currency because currencies are bad. We're sick of currencies. There's too many in the game. The other part of me is that I actually want to have that control. I want to be able to have times where, hey, the RNG is treating me terrible. And even though I'm following Rev Deuce's run every 4, 8, and 12-hour mission strategy, I'm still not getting the missions I want. I want the ability to refresh purposely so I can get the missions that I need that week. You know, what if the RNG never gives me the away team trait mission? What if it never gives me the Borg Nanoprobe mission that week? I want to be able to refresh to increase my chances of getting that. So I actually still want those to come through. Number 10, territory capture was promised to have updates and rotations, but nothing has really happened to it since its release. When does Scopely plan on doing some form of update to this section of the game? And this is probably the best answer we have so far, because it's a direct, literally coming now. But it says, agreed, we have some plans around territory capture for this arc, so we know what's coming within the next couple months. That will be rolled out across a couple of months. So we know that territory capture is getting an update. That doesn't tell you what it is, but territory capture is getting an update in this arc. In this arc, we have never had an arc that goes 6 months. The longest has been 5, and I don't think they're repeating that strategy here. I think the arcs will continue to be a 3 or 4 month thing, following the pattern of quarters that businesses operate from. I don't know why I put those in quotation marks. So territory capture seems to be getting a pretty nice update by the end of the year. So that's good news. So there are some of those answers that we get frustrated with in this dev Q&A, but there's also some really good ones that kind of give you an idea of what's coming and when those things are coming and if they're coming soon or not. So I appreciate this dev Q&A, as I always do, and I hope you did as well. I want to know your comments about it in the comment section below. Of course, we will share your responses with the good overlords at Star Trek Fleet Command, and I love y'all. Live long and prosper. That's what this means. Stay safe out there, Space Cowboys. I'll catch you on the next one. Deuces, that's me. We outie.
An even better outro than the intro. Yeah! Woo!